Howdy, I am presenting the transformation of corn to a renewable resource, ethyl alcohol, also known as ethanol. Ethanol is one of the most leading biofuels in the United States, alongside biodiesel. It consists of plant material known as biomass that we can use to fuel all vehicles and can be used in many human products, such as lotions, food additives, oil, waxes, and plastics, and soaps. Ethanol itself is a process of fermentation that metabolizes sugars and starches from plants, the main crop in the United States being corn. Corn is mostly grown in the Heartland region, consisting of Ohio, Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, and Indiana. Previously, ethanol is made up of sugars and starches. The type of feedstock or material such as sugar, starch, or planol used gives us the type of ethanol production. For example, in corn, it begins with the kernels or the starches in sorghum, barley, or even sugarcane. For the cultivation process, I will describe it with corn. The first step in the process involves grinding the kernels into a fine powdered texture and exposing more of the starch. Water is then added and heated to break up the molecules using the enzyme called alpha amylase. Then glucoamylase is added to break down the starch molecules into a simple sugar known as glucose. Then yeast is added to the mixture to break down that glucose to produce ethanol. Ethanol being the energy yeast yields from glucose. That is not the end of it though, because it is still basically a diluted version of the ethanol. But we want it to be all ethanol, so we boil it to a certain degree to evaporate the mixture to produce pure ethanol. The ethanol is then processed into fuel or other man-made products. Ethanol is far from perfect though. For starters, it requires special pipes for transporting because the molecules are so small that if mixed with anything else, such as water, it would be very difficult to fix. Another development in progress would also be using new technologies and methods to extract the ethanol of cellulose and hemicellulose. The world is forever changing, but only for the better. Now you may be asking why ethanol is so important at this point, and it has to do with its positive effect on the environment. It is a growing replacement for fossil fuels such as gasoline, and more every year, a percentage of ethanol is added into what humans put into their vehicles, and the difference has been shown. Carbon emissions and greenhouse gases have declined by almost 40% with our growing human population. It is also able to keep up with us, so it is a positive advantage to have. And for communication, the spread of the knowledge of ethanol has greatly increased with years. More and more agriculture and farmland use goes into the production, and more is used by humans daily, whether it's with groceries or getting gas to commute. There are also multiple articles written about the positive effects of ethanol, and it can be found on the news or on the web. And after all that has been said, what can we do to help initiate or influence people to use more renewable resources, such as ethanol? The answer is clear. Once we make the choice for a greener environment as compared to the outcome of a dying planet and suffocation on our part, we can make up and choose to walk out to green grass and fresh air. A part of that solution can consist of switching out more than 50% of gasoline into ethanol and finding new technologies that would change our vehicles to take in 100% ethanol and no gasoline. Along with those technologies, we can hopefully find new uses or new productions for ethanol that will let us live for another day. And last but not least, here are all of my citations. Thank you all for listening to my presentation and have a blessed one.